In the Field updates on Market Journal are supported by the Nebraska Corn Board.
Speaking of being busy, earlier this week we caught up with Dave Merrell. He is a crop producer near St. Edward, Nebraska. He was kind enough to invite our crew out to his place and give us an update on how things are going in his neck of the woods as part of this week's In the Field update. How are things going harvest progress-wise at this point, farming in the Boone County region?
Well, we're just about to finish up soybeans and get started on some corn. I think most people around here have probably already finished their soybeans and are testing the corn, finding out what it's like and what the moistures are. So there was quite a bit of corn taken out for high moisture corn for feedlots early, but now we're just into some of the dry corn.
Okay. Well, how is this year's harvest going for both corn and soybeans compared to previous years in terms of the yield and quality for your region of the state, Dave?
Yields on beans have been probably the best beans I've had in a long time. They've been high 70s, mid 70s. That's maybe for some people normal, but for me that's pretty good. And corn-wise, I haven't really gotten into the corn yet, but from what I've been out and walked around and looked, it looks like it's going to be a really good corn yield too.
Sounds like it's been a pretty good growing season for you, but as you look back on the past several months, any particular challenges you face with growing crops for you?
Well, the last couple of years we've had a lot of issues with hail and wind. This year was one of the first years we haven't had any hail or wind. Then of course we've had drought the last couple of years. This year was kind of a really unique year. We had a lot of wet beginning of the season and then dried off here at the end. So now we're looking at drought, very dry conditions. So every year's a little bit different, and irrigation is a must for us. So that's always a challenge during the growing season.
Yep, absolutely. Well, now that we are into harvest, making your way through soybeans, getting ready for the corn up next, we talk about the markets, of course, all the time here on the show. I'm curious, as a Nebraska corn farmer, how do some of the current market conditions and grain prices influence your decisions when it comes to harvest and perhaps storage?
Well, quite a bit, I guess, because we have to decide whether we want to store the grain or we want to deliver it straight to the elevator and get it sold. We have to get if we're paying interest on a loan, we need to get that income so we can stop that interest payment. Maybe we got to pay some things early, get some early discounts. So we need that income. So sometimes it's better to just deliver the grain, get it sold, take the income.
Yep. Appreciate your insight on that front. Any new technology or equipment you're trying out in your operation this year, Dave?
Well, we were just talking about I have a drone now. I had never had a drone before, but need to go out. I need to really use that a lot more. Use it for checking pivots, checking fields, trying to figure out what things are like out over the field. It really gives you a good idea what your field looks like that you can't tell from the ground. We've got some scales on our grain carts this year that we've never had before. It's going to help us a lot with tracking where and how much our grain is going to. And so those things are helping us a lot with the farming operation.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like we've largely talked about corn and soybeans, but you mentioned you also grow alfalfa, so let's wrap up on that front. How were the different cuttings of alfalfa this year?
Well, alfalfa was kind of a challenge this year because of the rain we had early on. It seemed like every time we knocked the hay down, it would rain. And then just with the humidity we had early, it just would not dry. It took forever to dry. That third cut in hay took 2 weeks to dry down. And finally got the hay put up, but it was a challenge to get the hay done this year with all the humidity and the rain that we had.
Well, Dave, certainly wish you and your crew safe rest of the harvest season. Appreciate you joining us today.
All right, thanks, Bryce.